Welcome to the Healing Hour, and we're live with you for the next hour. So come and have an opportunity to meet both Michael and myself. I'm Tyson Bennigan, the Illuminator, bringing light into your life, and the Master Dowser, and my nickname is the Energy Detective. So I'm here to answer all your dowsing energy healing questions that you may have, particularly if you ask them over Energy Healing closed Facebook group. And my guest today and co-anchor for today for this healing hour is Michael O'Connor. He's a holistic astrologer. He has a brand new show that he's co-anchoring with him. And he is our resident astrologer in the Academy. And he's here to answer your questions that have to do with astrology and energy healing and spirituality. So we're here for you for the next hour. So feel free to tune in and interrupt us at any time by using the toll-free number 1-866-369-7464, which brings me to mind, where is that phone anyway? Oh, yes, it's in my pocket. Good thing I know where my phone is. All right, so 1-866-369-7464. You can also leave your questions in the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy Facebook page. We'll pick them up there and be able to put them right on this Facebook Live and be able to read them out loud. And also there's a Be Live link that I'll just show you what it looks like. See if we can find it here. If you can see that link, it'll look like this, Be Live TV, and I'll have a link to this show. Click the link and you'll come on live in the lobby, and then we'll put you in right beside Michael and I, and you can ask us those tough questions. All right, so we're ready to rock and roll, and we're here for you for the next hour. So, Michael, let's talk about the brand new show, and let's talk about your offerings that you're going to be presenting through the Academy. And by the way, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Tyson. Yeah, great to be here. Thanks. Yeah, the one show in particular I'm excited about is The Big Picture Revealed, which offers an opportunity to provide insights about sort of a broader perspective than just looking at astrology directly. It's sort of like that it works, why it works, how it works, not going into teaching how it works, but giving examples more than anything, but also really stretching the parameters, to appreciate the multidimensional universe, us souls as souls incarnate, the metaphysical perspective on existence, which can be defined in a variety of ways, and the evolutionary process that we are engaged in as incarnated beings.
Not to worry, that's the wrong phone. Oh, so we'll just carry on.
Okay, that's headquarters. So, and today, my focus, I thought I would bring attention and maybe even create a show in the course of time. But today I want to focus on astrology, spirituality, and healing. Oh, and one more thing on the website, the weekly horoscope I write will be there, but also I'm excited at the presenting to listeners the opportunity to subscribe to a monthly week by week live webinar where we get behind your weekly horoscope. We look at not just what's going on and why, so it has that little tutorial element, but also just gives you a more personal tete-a-tete looking at your chart and really looking at why the planetary alignments, or what they are and how they affect different signs and so forth. So no experience required. It's not meant to be an advanced theme, or focus, but it's meant to be both educational and insightful. And again, largely surrounding the sun sign perspective. It's just so, because even though we're ultimately individuated beings, etc., right down to the genes and so on to the soul realities, there is this interesting fractal principle where just by virtue of being a sun sign, you're a part of a certain wave of, call it probably evolutionary stream would be the best. Some people might want to call it cosmic rays. I would not go with that. That's kind of some attempt at physics. Astrology is not about
All
cosmic.
right. So I'm just going to interrupt you and let people know that we're here for you for the next hour to answer your questions with regard to astrology, spirituality, dowsing, and energy healing. The toll-free number is in the live comments as 1-866-369-7464. It's toll-free in North America. You can also leave your comments, your live comments in the Facebook page at the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy in Facebook. And right now, we're going to go over to the closed dowsing and energy healing Facebook page and deal with some of the requests over there. So for Personal Clearing Tuesday, what do you want to have help in to clear or let go of today? This could be unresolved emotions, family of origin, past life, matriarchal or patriarchal lineage, or inner child or soul family. We have 9 comments. And Elizabeth Petra, P-E-T-R-P-E-T-O-F-I, Petfa, lovely concept. I hope there is more information posts on how I can learn how to do this and how it works. Thank you. It's a beautiful day here where I live. I'm going to work in my garden and hold the thought of clearing and healthy growth for my edible and pollinating plants. Well, Elizabeth, from the snow belt in Canada, where it's below zero and freezing, and it just stopped snowing, I'm a little jealous that you're out in your garden, helping your garden grow and giving it all the right vibes and energy for your pollinating plants. We are about at least 60 days away from being able to do that here. So Elizabeth, thanks for your comments. And yes, I told you how you could pick up, if you're at work, how you can get all of the shows, both the Healing Hour, the Wellness Show, and the Big Picture Revealed Show are all on the Academy YouTube channel. And so if you miss a show, head over there and subscribe, and you'll get a notice by email telling you when the next show has been released. So you'll never miss a show, and that will keep you up to date. Now moving on, Nico Love says, for me, in getting highly vibe, peaceful, and quiet is what she wants to do. Clean, cleared, and beautifully furnished home to move in with free moving near airport and extra happy cash immediately this week. Also for getting a new job from a reputable airlines that I was advanced to final interviews last week. I picked this job since they have branches all over the states, including relocation. I'm sick with horrible sore throat, so I can't call today. Do appreciate if you take my request. Thank you, Dr. Tyson. All right, so let's do a little clearing around that. So using the short clearing form, it would go like this. I translate, transmute, transfigure, heal, and repair all non-beneficial energy in and around and through my being that lead to me not being able to deal with whatever it is that's influencing my sore throat. And I clear myself throughout all time, space, and dimensions, both known or unknown. And I declare it so in my holy name, so be it, it is done. So if you have a pendulum, you can swing your pendulum counterclockwise. It causes a vortex and does the clearing according to the dowsing protocols. And if you want to state that for yourself, I just did that for everybody on the call, everybody listening to the call. If you want to know the wording for this and do it for yourself, then head over to the Dowsing and Energy Healing closed Facebook group. Go over to the files. You'll see short dowsing clearing. Download it. There's open brackets. Stick in the brackets what it is you want to clear, and then read it out loud and spinning your pendulum or rotating your finger counterclockwise, clear what you no longer serves you in your energy field. That's the way you take back your power and stand in your truth no matter what. And once you've cleared, don't forget to install what it is you do want. And what she wants to install is a clean, clear, beautiful furnished home to move in it free from near airport. Well, Nico, since the time we've been working together, boy, you've come a long way by doing the 21-day clearing and learning how to manifest in your life. And I'm really excited that you're now applying for that job, and I wish you all the best in being able to get it and that whole happy home, because you deserve it. So thanks for doing the work and getting the results. That's awesome. So I'm just going to go over to Michael for a sec. Michael, Nico's been really going through some major changes in her life. And what sort of ways can astrology help her get a handle on these changes that are showing up in her life?
Well, if she were to, in fact, consult me, for example, I could tell her both in terms of the deep and wide. The deep and wide means you really get a big picture on who she is and where she's at in her life in a very large context. And then I would zero in on what's currently going on in terms of, her flow of destiny. Um, Astrology shows that quite well. Of course, it's a map, not the territory. And each and every one of us, have to use our free will to navigate what I call ground zero. We have to navigate in that circumstantial reality we're in. So that's why conscious co-creation is so darn important. So astrology provides a good, deep sense of who you are and where you're at and what's going on currently. But that's where that whole law of attraction and intentionality comes to the fore, right? So there's a nice weave, indirectly, quickly here, saying all that. It's a reminder that astrology is not purely and strictly and solely about prediction. It's about being aware. And then, I work with people like a life coach, guiding them to make better choices, as you do.
Right.
Yeah.
So knowing that there's choices is the most important way to bring about transformation and change in your life. And for most people, they don't know that they even have a choice, right?
Yeah, it's the power and the responsibility inherent in free will. And people use their free will in different ways. Some people are very assertive with it, and some people aren't assertive enough, etc. And some are destined to be that much more assertive, and some are destined to not be as assertive. It's really an interesting thing. There's no final, this is the way it works thing, but we do have it, and we are generally meant to use it. And so, like what she's done in a really good way, she got clear on what she wants, right? And so she starts getting, on a very practical level, she's just thinking, this is what I want, and I'm working with what is available here, right? But she's also activating what would be the magic, what would be the synchronicity. In other words, I would generally interpret it as she's feeding it into her subconscious mind, which sees beyond time and space.
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited for Nico, is she's learning how to manifest, and she's getting the results, and she's getting them quickly, and her life is changing. And that's really the bottom line of what you and I are teaching, and that is, if you do the work, you get the results. If you're clear on what you want to manifest in your life, and you change your energy field to match it, then it's going to show up. So I get excited when people actually understand this and start applying it and changing their life and turning it around. So we're standing by for you. Our toll-free call is 1-866-369-7464. Feel free to call in or click that Be Live link, which is in the comments on the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy Facebook page, and come in to the what do they call it anyway? They call it in the lobby. You'll come into the lobby. We'll see you in the lobby, and then we'll bring you right live onto the show. And you can be live beside Michael and Tyson and co-participate in the show. What could be better than that? You're going to be on live TV. So that's your other opportunity to come in. And if you're too shy, then just put your comments in the live comments, and we'll be able to see them and put them on the screen and answer them. So in the meantime, we're just going to go back over to the dowsing energy healing. We're dealing with personal requests for a Tuesday clearing. We're going to go down the list here. Elizabeth Petra, thank you. I have a major lack of Wi-Fi here where I live, but I've started going to Central Virginia dowsing meetings once a month. Yeah, great. It's really good to find a group of like-minded people, especially when a dowser, and being able to have a buddy system to check your quality and connection to your intuition and source. Because, like I said, dowsing is only training wheels for guidance on demand. So when you do it in a group, where two or more are gathered, there am I. So that it's geometrical progression and energy when you work with others. So great. That's wonderful that you're doing that. So Patty, Veronica, Mac, some of us have to work during the time slot. Are there replays? Yeah, I just mentioned how you could do that. Head over to the Academy YouTube channel, Extraordinary, just type in Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy into YouTube and bang, subscribe, and then you'll get the notice for all the shows, the wellness show, the big picture show revealed, and this healing hour. All right. So Monique wants to clear all interferences. Yeah, so Monique, you know how to do that? It would be I, Monique Sage, in my holy name, undertake this clearing with assistance of Divine Mother or whoever's on your light team that you want assistance to clear all interferences, known or unknown, throughout the multi-dimensional levels of my reality and throughout all time, space, and dimensions, both known or unknown. And I declare it so in my holy name, so be it, it is done. So that's what you would do. So everybody on the call, that's how you can do it for yourself as well. And of course, when I did that, I did it for everybody on the call as well. Don't forget to spin your pendulum counterclockwise because you're creating a vortex, pulling the energy out of your bioenergy system. All right, Nico comes back and says, for 8-year-old girl named Monica who is causing a huge problem to her family, including bullying her 3 brothers, including a baby brother. She's also a troublemaker at school, very nasty to everyone, including adults. Yeah, well, definitely Monica's acting out and she's not happy and she's not getting her needs met, so better to have negative response than no response at all. What I found with people like that the best way to do that is what I call star walking. So for star walking, I would wait until the nighttime when Monica's asleep. I would approach her higher self or soul being. I'd ask for entrance. You'll get a clear feeling intuitively whether that connection can be made or not. If the answer is no, that's it. She's not ready. If the answer is yes and it feels right, then talk to Monica on that level and tell her that she's loved, she's being taken care of. There's no need to act out. That you understand who she is and that she is accepted and fully loved for who she is. That will help her settle herself down, that she'll know that she's truly being loved by at least one human being on the planet. That will help her really get her act back together, and you'll find that her whole behavior changes. However, if that doesn't feel comfortable with you, you can always just use the dowsing protocol, Nico, like and just clear all the non-beneficial energies in and around and through her, Monica, and so she's free and clear and becomes a sovereign human being and free of any intrusions into her energy field from any and all sources. So that's it for those questions. They were great questions. Thanks for showing up, asking those great questions so everybody can learn by me answering them. So that's it. So I'm coming back over to Michael. So Michael, any comments on any of that from an astrological perspective, some of those questions that were being asked or concerns?
Okay, well, there's a couple of things. Yes, first of all, I wanted to comment quickly on the overall intention and then the prayer, what practically can be described as an incantation, and then a series of the words become affirmation. So it's I wrote down intention, incantation / prayer, affirmation, and what's woven in there also what I really liked is permission, that free will principle. So it's like you're communicating at that higher level, right? And the power of words is the simplest way I can say that, describe what I heard there. Astrologically, by the way, just from that standpoint, you can begin to see who she is as a person. The reality is you can see very strong indications of past life tendencies in children. I've seen from many charts over the years, children who should be sweet young girls, for example, who are very aggressive, right? I remember looking at this one chart and the mother said, tell me about my daughter. She didn't tell me anything, just tell me about I looked at the chart for a while. I said, my God, if I didn't know any better, I'd say she's sort of like a tank commander. And she looked at me, she says, that's exactly the way she is. She's like a tank commander. And I said, I looked closer at the chart for a while, and I truly believe that, and there's a lot of evidence that we pick up where we left off. So if we leave the world in a very passionate, aggressive, difficult, violent, scary, whatever way we leave in, there's a strong echo. That's a nice word, a strong theme of that being with us. And we have to, the ideal is to be aware. So we can, by awareness, we can begin to take various measures. What those measures are is relative to the situation, but they're more based on awareness and understanding, and then various choices like the one you presented. That would be one good example. Sometimes it's just being patient, but what we're leading away from, though, is labeling. And kind of, getting narrowly into an area of, that the person's, let's say, schizophrenic or, anything like that, especially for youth, if you, on this particular example. But, measures need to be taken. And so the awareness factor is what the astrology can initially provide, just like,
yeah, good point. I mean, the compassion or the compassion code, to do everything with compassion rather than judgment, is really a key. As a dowser or, as an astrologer, the goal is to be compassionate, that everybody shows up in your life and you really think that they're doing something to you, but really they're there to point out something that you haven't dealt with. So that, compassion allows you to go inwardly, see what is the energetic match of why that person is showing up in your life and why they're, I guess, jerking your chain, for lack of better words, or making you feel upset. And when you discover what that is and resolve it, the beauty of that, you don't ever have to deal with that type of person again, because they don't bother you. They literally just don't show up in your life. So it's a good way to approach the situation, that nobody's doing anything to you. Okay.
I think it's always a good idea, very quickly, just here, is that with the awareness, well, the astrology can help that a lot, but just generally on an energetic level, it's always important to endeavor, and this is where the chart would help, to move in the direction that the energy is going. In other words, don't block or don't force or don't oppose. It's naturally tempting to do that. You want to cut it off, you want to oppose it. But if it's chronic, okay, in a day-to-day, somebody's misbehaving on an evening, okay, you can do that, it's not an issue. But if it's chronic, then you got to really get in there and move with the energy. Why is this energy like that? And then, it's hard to say what exactly should be done, but it really does depend from case to case, Sometimes, by the way, just
I guess the beauty of an energy clearing is you don't really need to know what the problem is. You're just clearing any non-beneficial energies in or around and through the person that are influencing them in a negative way. So you're really stepping in to help them remember who they are. Just a comment here. Natalie Jera Wilson says, hello, everyone. So I'm just going to put her up there. Thank you for tuning into the show. And don't forget, you can phone in toll free, 1-866-369-7464 for Natalie if your questions answered. So thanks for showing up on the show. Yeah, okay. So good comments that you're having there, Michael.
Thank you, Tyson. Yeah, it's, there's the energy that can be, it's like sometimes, and just as you're suggesting, sometimes the energy is like a passing phase. Okay, there's the phase, and almost everything's subject to change over time. But sometimes the issue has a real root to it. That that's the classical in healing, seek the root cause, right? That the root cause is in a past life. It doesn't require. I'm a big fan of past life regression, I must admit, because it's a very gentle, imaginative journey into memory, It's really what it is. It's like into one's, even if the past life regression doesn't, even if it's not strictly speaking providing absolute replication of what occurred in the past life, but it becomes what you could call the subconscious mind, the memory produces plausible scenarios, just that it's close. Yeah, I've noticed that it has a remarkably good effect. It's just a feeling that it's as though old energy, especially if a person dies suddenly, by the way, in the past life, they didn't know it was coming, that the energy is still going in a direction. So if it can be addressed, if it can be brought to realize that it is more of an echo. So it's like an uninvited guest, a disturbance, right? So I'm not strictly speaking of an entity as such, but that can be an issue too. And by the way, also the issue being, let's say, very negative can attract entities, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, likes attract. So that compounds the problem. But clearing those won't be enough. You can't just clear those entities, because if the issue, as the classical story goes, if you don't address the root cause, well, it's coming back. So that's where the awareness can help.
Yeah, just to let people know, the whole intention of the deep clearing protocol is comes from the fact of originally from workers have done in the field of helping people clear their bioenergy fields. And from that, I gathered all the different protocols that I could find and put them together in the deep clearing protocol. And what I've found is that over 75% of the population has 50% or more intrusion into their bioenergy field from multiple sources. The multiple sources are both external, which are, EMFs, electromagnetic energies, solar flares, radiation, atomic energy, all those sorts of things, right? Cell phones, smart power, smart meters, all those sorts of things. And then another great, and there's like, last time I checked, 2,700 plus man-made interrupters that literally affect the bioenergy field. So that really knocks it down energetically. Then in the internal realm are all the things that Michael is alluding to, like entity discarnate beings, unresolved emotions, trauma, conflict, near-death experience, past life bleed through, soul contracts, blah, 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 blah. And then all of that, which takes you to wanting to do some deeper work. So the deep clearing protocol is a 21-day clearing that you do once a day for 21 days straight, based on the theory that 21 to 30 days is what you need to create a new habit. At that time, around that time, and sometimes shorter, sometimes longer, the subconscious picks up the program and begins to run with it, and runs it 24/7, 365. So when I douse this, that deals with something like 93, 95, somewhere there, percent of the cases get clear. For those last percentages, then, like Michael says, we really got to go to the deep root cause of what caused that trauma, which could be a near-death experience, past life bleed through, or whatever, or crossed energy timelines or whatever. And that's where we, the exorcism of, which I'm an exorcist. I don't particularly like the name, but that's how we talk about that field, to do the deeper work to clear that trauma. So all this is what is involved in what I'm about to present or launch again, is my distant healing certification program, which is highly successful. When people go through it and they become certified as an energy healer, they get to learn from master dowsers, most of them which have passed on. And they begin with the primary master dowser that I learned, which is John Living. And you would then learn, and the thing about John that I love is he's a retired professional engineer. So it's got to be straightforward. It's got to be analytic. It's got to be scientific. It's got to be rational in his approach to energy healing. No fuss, no muss. Really got to nail this down. So there's little or no woo-woo. Okay. And so you get to learn how to use a pendulum. And along with this comes 20 plus videos with him teaching you how to do this, plus a 110-page manual that will go through page by page, showing you how to use that protocol, which is an analysis of what's going on in your bio, your client, or your family. And move in from that, once we finish that, we'll move into other techniques, both ones I've developed, like the 3-breath technique, fingers of light, etc., etc. And then we'll go on to other master dowsers and their techniques of how they've come up with ways to deal with these energy healings. And one of my favorite, I just happen to have his book here. Sorry about the noise. This is his book here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's The Power of Focused Mind Healing, a guide presented by Harold McCoy. He's passed on. And he isn't an engineer. He is, what was he? He wasn't an engineer, but he comes from, he's a mechanical engineer. So he comes from a very mechanical perspective. So he uses fire hoses and fluids and all that for cleaning people up. Really interesting. The power of imagination. He opens your skull and gets in there and does a suction of anything that doesn't work. Powerful, powerful stuff. I know it sounds weird and wonderful, but it works. It's the power of intention. So here's another one of the master dowsers that's passed on. You'll get to learn his techniques as well. And Harold McCoy will be another one, and on and on and on. So anyway, that's about to have an introductory webinar. So come, it's for free. Get a sense of what the program's going to be all about. And I'll leave the information in the comments, in the show notes here, so they'll know exactly how to sign on and have an opportunity to see if this is what you would like to do. I've had a number of requests from the subcontinent for those that want to do the program, saying that it's too expensive. So I'm open to negotiating, and I've been known to go down to cutting the fees in half for anybody that's from a developing country. So if that's you and it seems like it's too much money for you, then you need to get hold of me and we'll negotiate a price that works for you and get you into the course. Okay, so that's it for the Distant Healing Certification course. And we're standing by for your toll-free call. Very quiet on the Western Front today, but it's 1-866-369-7464, waiting for you to call in. So Michael, talk a little bit more about, the big picture we show revealed is really the sort of cosmological big burp overview of what's going on and how all this comes together, like astrology, cosmology, science, and all of that. But how does that help a person understand astrology and how that applies to their life? How do you bring it from that level down to the personal, person through what you want to do in the academy?
Okay, well, just quickly, the big. I'm echoing there. Okay, yeah. The big picture revealed is. It's more focused on existence itself. What I'm endeavoring to do is illustrate that we live in a conscious universe that's multidimensional. We are made in its image. We are multidimensional beings living in a multidimensional universe. What's really important to understand about how, why, and that astrology works is it's not limited to physics. That's an important understanding. I say this every now and then. It's what they mean by metaphysics is it's not limited to empiricism or even strictly speaking to 3D. It doesn't dismiss 3D. It incorporates it, but in a larger framework of other dimensions that are operative behind 3D. This is not easily traced. One can't use physics tools to do that. This is the very thing. It's metaphysics. So, quantum physics does a good job perhaps of peering into the deep, subtle realms of the physical, but it's still, no. the metaphysics goes into other dimensions. We're not talking about mathematical dimensions. We're talking about spiritual dimensions. And when one understands that well, you begin to understand why astrology works. It becomes very scientific. It's very scientific on the basis of holism. The best term remains, and that's where holism is a term that says that basically that we are multidimensional beings living in a multidimensional universe. Modern science doesn't embrace that because it can't measure it, and so it remains sort of, not even to many modern scientists. It's not just that they're on the fence; is that they just consider it. Well, they'll use the term woo-woo, right? What that tells me is they are ignorant, really.
Interesting thing, I was just listening to Greg Braden, who's talking about that there's scientific evidence, almost proof positive, that we are living in a matrix, like a video game, and have been. And that all the indications are that this has been going on for an extended period of time. And like a video game, that we always have the ability to step out of the game for assistance, which he's referring to as our guidance or our intuition. And therefore, the game is set up for us to have the learning potentiality of what the end game can be. Like, are we going to annihilate ourselves with global warming, or can we come to universal peace, or can we harness energy without destroying the environment and all these other, worldwide problems that we have created for ourselves through the process of civilization. But he goes on to say that, it's most likely that this has happened a number of times on the planet. So if this is true, then this whole metaphysics, or understanding the point of view where you could look back at the level of duality, the light and dark, the good and the bad, what you're talking about, 3D, which is apparently real because we literally manufacture it collectively. We have a different that holism, from that overview. And that's what you're talking about, is to take yourself to that level of knowing where you're no longer trapped in the matrix, but you can see the matrix for what it is and not be overwhelmed by it. So just another way of my understanding of this, coming from Greg Brayton. I found that really fascinating, that there's scientific proof from mathematics and physics that we are living in a manufactured matrix, and that we have been for an extended period of time. So what do you think of that, Michael?
I have a little trouble with it, but I'll tell you why. Not that I think it's wrong in principle. I think it's correct. The word manufactured is the issue I have personally. I do believe, I like Greg Braden, and I like his book, The Divine Matrix. Manufactured starts getting into,
All right, I'll withdraw the term manufactured, because he doesn't say that. I use the term manufactured.
Yeah, no.
Let's say created.
I would just use the term purposeful. Word, and it's a divine matrix. So in other words, we've been, as souls, we're participating in the manifest universe on purpose, and it's a journey of learning. My basic philosophy is that we're here to learn, to be conscious, co-creative, responsible co-creative beings. That's what we're here. We're in the realm of duality to undergo pleasure and pain. And like, we want pleasure, of course. Pain showing us what not to do, in effect. And that happens individually and collectively. So, I'm not a utopianist at all. I don't believe that suddenly we're going to just arrive. I think the life in the body, in this dimension, on this planet at least, keeping an open mind for what it might be like elsewhere, is meant to be a process of learning Like, we're not supposed to make it some utopian, although the aspiration to make it better, the aspiration to achieve higher levels and standards is very natural and wholesome. Okay, so I'm not meaning to underestimate that the aspiration to make things better isn't good. And I do think invariably it's just the nature of our being to want to do that, to bring about betterment for ourselves and others. So there's a lot to be said, you know. But if we get too utopian, if we get too attached to our narrow notion, and we dismiss a larger theme of process that goes on in life, we have the beginning of fanaticisms, and we see that a lot. That's part of it too. So anyway, all that said, I know Greg Braden's not saying that, and I think once again his appreciation of the scientific side of spirituality is, well taken. And that we're in a divine matrix. Astrology, what I find with Greg Braden, but I like about it too, is that he uses the principles of astrology quite a bit. In other words, astrology reveals a divine matrix. It's
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that, if we're going to talk about the matrix as a matrix that those whoever those are can control, then there's no doubt that the astrological alignments are very much how the imposed matrix, if you believe that conspiracy theory, that imposed matrix is very much governed by astrological events. So I just wanted to say that Natalie Jared Wilson says connecting the dots has really been a struggle. Yes, and it's been a struggle not only for us individually, for you, but for all of us and for humanity. Why are we here? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to solve? Why are we in this duality anyway? But one thing about dowsing, energy healing, and astrology is when you make that connection to your higher self or your guidance through the source, then the dots start to come together. Then on a pattern, like stars in the heavens, they for you. And then synchronicity begins to occur, and you end up in the right place at the right time to have the next step emerge. So, the fact that you are even knowing that there's a dots, right, to connect is a huge step in the right direction. Lots of people don't even know that there's dots. So congratulations on that. Keep looking for the dots. Keep connecting them. And if you feel like it, why don't you phone in 1-866-369-7464 and ask us some tough questions. All right? Toll-free number, standing by for your call. Anybody? 866-369-7464. And it says 359 in the toll-free comments on the page. So that's 866-369-7464. All right, so standing by for your toll-free call in, and in the meantime, we'll carry on. So thank you for that comment.
When it comes to connecting the dots, I would offer this, Natalie, is it? There's two perspectives. Yeah. There's your own dots. Like, in other words, there's like the danger of the dots is that we have this notion that the outer reality is a certain thing, but it's not. There's many levels and types of experiences happening in the world. It depends on which arena you're in. There's many circles in the world. So we got to be careful not to assume that we're going to ultimately connect all the dots in the world in terms of the bigger picture, in terms of the reality of life on the planet. There's always different levels and circles and all kinds of things, like different classrooms, etc. Then there's our own personal story. It's like your own dots, shall we say. An astrology chart actually really well shows that. It shows it in various ways that you have your own, what can be called matrices. Your natal chart has this matrix or matrices, I'll call it, aspects, we call them. Basically speaking, it reveals a dharmic code, what would be a destiny code, your astrology chart. So in other words, rather than try too hard to connect the dots in the world, I would encourage you connect within your own matrix, your own dots. Get that clear, and basically speaking, by and large, leave the rest as it is. You know, trying to comprehend all of the different, there's lots going on. So once you get your story clear and you find your path within it, you'll find you're more centered, at peace, happy. No need, like it's kind of let it be. That's what they mean by let it be.
So Natalie comes back and says, the cat has a hold of my tongue. My apologies. I don't know how the cat got involved in this, but, maybe chuck the cat under the chin, so let's go of your tongue. So it's not necessarily in your tongue anyway, and speaking your truth. It's letting go and knowing that the truth is going to come to you. So, yeah, that Natalie, you can always type in here if you want to ask your question, full in if you don't feel shy. Either way is fine, or you can just listen to us quietly as we carry on giving a wisdom about connecting dots or not connecting the dots, whether the dots are inside or outside, or whether you can make it into a sewing pattern or whatever. But we do appreciate you showing up on the show, so thank you very much. So it's a lot of pressure. Okay, so if you want to talk about pressure, Natalie, and letting go, then I really suggest you take an opportunity to head over to the Dowsing Energy Healing closed Facebook page, download the short clearing, and do that. So it would go something like this. So I, Natalie Jared Wilson, in my holy name, undertake this clearing throughout all time, space, and dimensions with assistance of my light team. It could be your divine mother. You might work with Archangel Michael. You might work with, your power guides or your guardian angels or your elemental or your totem animals or whatever that wants to assist you or that you work with. I undertake this clearing through the multidimensional levels of my life. I get the cat off of biting my tongue. I stand in my truth no matter what, and I clear myself throughout all time, space, and dimensions, and throughout the multidimensional levels of my being. And I declare it so be it, it is done. And just by doing that, just like by making a declaration, you will literally change your world. There's something so powerful about the spoken word that it is, like Michael said, it is an incantation, as an evocation. It's the basis of transmutation. It's the basis of alchemy. It's the basis of mysticism. It's the basis of all transmutation is the spoken word. And it can actually literally create miracles. And so as the saying goes, if you don't ask, you don't receive. If you don't knock, the door isn't open. So always state what it is that you want and be really clear about it. So, for example, Moses didn't stand by the Red Sea and say, please open up the Red Sea. I really need this to happen. He invoked the powers of the elementals to do so. He took his staff and he banged it on the earth 3 times. He went boom, 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 and he declared it so. He wasn't waiting to get the cat off his tongue. So the point that I'm trying to make is when you got that power of intention in your words, you can change your reality. So give it a try. And Tina's just shown up, Tina Losi. So thankful for all the guidance Michael O'Connor has given over the years. Amazing insight, affirmations of my living from the inside out every day. So Tina, it sounds like you know this guy named Michael and that you've been working with him for a while. And yes, he's pretty darn awesome. And yes, you'll get the cat off of anybody's tongue. Thank you for showing up on the show. Michael, do you want to say anything to Tina?
Hello, Tina, and thank you. Good to see you. It's good to hear you're there. I don't see you actually, but Yeah, it's I go with what you're saying, Tyson. It's an affirmation of your will to be. I think is a big description of the, once we affirm we're here and we give ourselves permission to be here, don't we? So it's a two-way street. We're affirming who we are. We're giving ourselves permission to be here, and then we're recognizing that we have co-creative power that's not purely and solely physical material. It's working metaphysically, isn't it? We're engaging by
Absolutely.
yeah. It's just a nice way of describing it. That's why prayer and affirmation and intention is the initial I want to, but then the words, the prayer, the incantation, the affirmation, all of those, however one wishes to describe them exactly. But yes, it becomes, like you say, darn it, I'm here, and I have a right to be here. But it's more than that. Not just a right. I choose to be here. It's even more powerful.
Yeah, and I have certain rights and privileges as a sovereign human being. I can create the world I want to live in. It's my divine right to do that. In fact, it's my responsibility. Just a short word or a short description or some thoughts about prayers and affirmations and declarations and intention statements and the whole use of words, which is transmutation, which is a whole power of transmuting substance from one substance to another. The prayer typically is asking something outside of yourself, some power, some lesser God, or the God of all gods, or the infinite creator, or the universe, or however you want to word that, to do something for you. Sometimes it's supplication, it's on your knees, it's before a cross, or it's in a lesser state of being. I don't do that. I have a great respect for those times when I've been on my bended knees. The last thing I can do. I have no other choice to do. I get that. I've done that. I've been on my knees. Nothing wrong with that. The real power we're talking about is the declaration, is the transmutation. You are the wizard in a dress, the wizard dress. You have the divine right to create the reality. You're the metaphysician. You're the alchemist. You create the world you live in. So stand up, stand in your power, and declare it so. And when you do that, the whole world must shift to your command. There's only two principles you need to worry about. One is the most benevolent outcome for all concerned, so you don't step on other people's or any other life form for that. And everything one, which is do no harm. And as long as you are operating within those two guidelines, go for it. If you don't like something showing up in your world, then change it. It's your divine right. And if everybody did that, we'd live in a much nicer, cleaner, more benevolent, peaceful world. So go for it. Try it out. See if it works for you.
You know what
So Natalie Jared says, thank you. Well, Natalie Jared Wilson, thank you for showing up.
Yeah, it's good. You know what's nice about that, Tyson? I think you're right on. Is that it's a faith principle. There's a certain faith in it, and it's non-manipulative. It's not fearful. It's not manipulative. It's faithful, and it becomes a recognition that you are a co-creator, but also it activates, I think, a state of realization that I'm not just a 3D being in a 3D realm. That is actually that's only what our perceptions are telling us. But our sixth sense starts to kick in and remind us, oh no, there's a lot more going on. And this is where we start getting into the metaphysics once again, right?
Yeah, so Michael, that's really leads me to the question, from the metaphysical perspective or astrological perspective, I would assume when somebody understands their chart, some of the energies that they've incarnated into, that in becoming a sovereign human being, manifesting their own reality, that this will give them some, what I might call guidelines or some areas in which would be easier for them to manifest and bring into reality than others. Does that make sense to you?
Well, yes, it brings clarity. Once you get clear on a various series of orientation, so clarity is the key to your intentions. Confusion obviously gets in the way, and we, invariably along the way, we get confused sometimes more than others, etc., and some more than others. But once we start getting, call it clarity, call it vision. I like the word vision, and I'm not talking about sight. I'm talking about having a vision for your life. And it's already there. It's not like there is something, you have every reason and right to co-create your own vision of life. But what astrology offers is that it says you have, and you hinted at it before, Tyson, a contract. You have like a dharmic, what would be called archetypal code. The code is just the language that's saying, by interpreting me, I can reveal back to what constitutes themes and aspects. It's rather complex at some level. You can go deeper and deeper, but generally it says who you are, why you're here, and where you're at. Where you're at's an important statement, by the way. Who you are, why you're here. Good, got that. Where you're at, because it's like your books, our life is like not just a book with many chapters. Generally speaking, it's like a series of books. By the way, that's an important understanding. We're all here. You might say in a full lifespan, we're all here to fulfill our trilogy. We have 3 books. Okay, and each book has chapters. So and each chapter, while we are ever the main character in our story, as we know, chapters come to end. That chapter's over, and then we start another chapter, and then so we have our core being, our core nature, our core destiny, but we have different chapters, and the chapters bring about slightly different shifts of focus, shifts of priority, shifts of intention. And we can read those sometimes. Invariably we experience these things intuitively, naturally, circumstantially. We see the writing on the wall, the synchronicity starts coming in, but we can also just have that much more of an awareness, and we can be that much more intentional in terms of understanding it. And that's what astrology does at best. It helps you be aware of who you are and where you're at in your journey.
Well, I love that description. It reminds me of Hermann Hesse's book, Siddhartha, which is about the Buddha sitting by the river, and he's in the state of enlightenment and letting the river of life flow by, and he's part and one with the flow. And then he sort of comes to a waking 3D consciousness, and he goes to town and he meets an elderly lady who's running a business, and he helps her run the business, and he does this and he does that. And then he wakes up and remembers who he is, and he goes back to the river, and then he meditates again. He's back in the divine flow, and then he comes back to 3D, and he's off again. It's sort of like petals on the flower. Each time it's a journey out and then a journey back. And these are like chapters of the book of your own, you being the chief character of writing your own book, remembering who you are, forgetting who you are, remembering who you are, forgetting who you are, and deepening your appreciation of your true nature. And by working with Michael and knowing what your astrology is, it will help you remember that you're on one of the petals, maybe, and maybe find your way back to center, remembering why you incarnated and what you're here to do. Because I really do believe that each one of us has a unique mission that only us can deliver to the world. And astrology is one of the ways in which you can discover what that mission is that you're here to accomplish. And if we all knew our mission and we all delivered it, once again, we live in a much more benevolent world. So we're getting really close to the end of the show, but Michael, you got a minute to go, so you could wrap it up for today. Don't be so shy next time, everybody. There's a toll-free number you can call in. We've never, ever seriously damaged anybody or said rude things to anybody, so don't be fearful of actually phoning in and getting your questions answered. We'll be back same time, same place next week to get your questions answered. In the meantime, you can head over to the Dowsing and Energy Healing closed Facebook and ask your questions there. And by the way, it looks like in the questionnaire that I asked, should we include dowsing as part of the topic? I think there's way more people that say, yeah, let's do that than say no. So I think we have a go that we will be doing dowsing, energy healing, and astrology in that same page. And at whatever time it feels appropriate that we need to create a separate Facebook page, we may cross that bridge when we come to it. So Michael, what are the last words you'd like to leave everybody with?
Well, just remember that you are here on purpose, and your journey has a rhyme and reason to it, and there's a time and season to it. And when you come into your own center and you really start to align yourself, which is a key to your healing as well, you find you enter into your flow. So actually, very briefly, there's 3 things that cause illness or disease, and that would be blockage, fragmentation, and misalignment. Blockage means you're not in your flow, and then invariably you're misaligned, and they go, one could cause the other, and fragmentation occurs from all kinds of things, from poor diet to upsets to scattered thinking, et cetera, et cetera. So when we address those 3, overcoming blockage, fragmentation, and misalignment, we go into flow, integration, and alignment. And that's what my goal and interest is with astrology with people, is not merely and solely. People too often still, not as my clients usually do know, and they come for that. Some still are, seeking fortune telling. And, I just think, wow, I'm not the right person for them. They just want somebody to kind of tell them whimsical little things about what might happen. They're not interested in engaging in a co-creation of their life. My interest is only to help you co-create your life your way. I'm all into being that person to support you to be you, as fully you as you can be, just like the Buddha. And we get drawn out into life, and that's okay. We get drawn into the circles of others and family and friends and society, and it's good. It's good. But and we can enjoy that because we like to socialize, and it's really great. But it's ever important to return back to our center, as you said, Tyson, and reclaim our sense of who we are and why we are, and find a nice balance between the two.
Well, thank you, Michael. And it is called Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy, and we do offer you the opportunity to become extraordinary yourself, and that it's all right to show up and be the best you can be, and take back your personal power, stand in your truth no matter what, and deliver it to the world. Why not? Nobody else is going to do it for you. So, Michael, it was a great show. Thanks for showing up. Everybody listening to this now and in the future, don't be shy. Come back on next Tuesday, same time, same place. Dial in on that toll-free number and ask us some tough questions, and we'll get them answered for you. So bye for now, and have the best week ever.
Okay, bye, everybody. And big picture revealed on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Same. What time, Michael?
It's at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And
yes, we'll see you then. It's a live show on Be Live in the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. And by the way, if you missed this show or any other show, they're all posted on the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy YouTube channel. And by the way, please subscribe.
Okay. Thanks,
all
everybody. Right. Good night. Thanks, Tyson. All right.
Bye for now. The Healing Hour is on Facebook Live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, 11 p.m. in the UK, and 8 a.m. Australia on the following Wednesday. Join us by smartphone or webcam, or by toll-free number 1-866-369-7464 to leave your questions and comments on Facebook, or to phone in and get your dowsing and energy healing questions asked and answered. The Healing Hour is produced and released under the banner of The Wellness Show, www.thewellnessshow.ca. The Healing Hour is sponsored by the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy, your home for extraordinary courses on health, wealth, and enlightenment. So until next week, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.